I sometimes make the analogy in treatment about if you're dealing with a particular stressor, and if you think about it like holding weight, like if you were holding, I don't know, bricks, for example, right? If I hold two bricks in my hand for 1 minute, that's going to feel one way. But if I hold them for 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, a year, 2 years, 200 years, as we just think about all the time that the continuation of the additional stresses are happening, I think that's really important to consider too, because I feel what I'm seeing with my patients and my families that come in is this fatigue, right? Like we've been kind of managing and we've been trying to figure it out and we've been doing the work from home and getting creative with our spaces, all those things. But I think after doing that for so long, it can just be really taxing, right? And if we add the additional layer, or I wouldn't even say add for some people, but if we just hold it next to it and include it, because it's been, people's experiences for so long, I think there can also be not just fatigue, but a sense of hopelessness sometimes because we've been talking about the same things for years. We've been knowing some of the same data for years. We know that when we look at the Black community specifically, there's disproportionate rates and higher rates of certain illnesses in our community. And we're seeing that come through as it relates to COVID as well, right? Like we see that in that space too. And I think knowing that we've known these things have existed for so long and we haven't always seen that systematic change or intentionality to trying to make that change can really be discouraging.
Yeah, and like you said, Nicole, too, people thinking things maybe were better, but they're not. And the videos, I think, make it just so much more impactful.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's sort of like, I have, like you can think about both sides with the videos, right? Because there is this part that these videos just highlight what people have been like screaming has been happening. And it's like you're having the proof. And that we've had videos before, but I think in the case of George Floyd, that video from beginning, the surveillance camera that showed how he initially was complying, all of those pieces of it, and just the amount of time, it's like that video is what helped this catalyst happen of this moment, right? So we need the video, we need to document so that people can be held accountable, or at least you can get it out, because we don't know what will happen, which is a whole other stressor that people in the Black community are dealing with. Like, we've been here before and they don't get charged, or they, the charges happen, but they don't get convicted. But then the other part of the video is that watching the death and the murder of a Black person over and over and over again, and just thinking psychologically what that does to you, what that does to how you feel about yourself, how you feel in the world, how you feel about your safety in the world, your concerns. You see the anxiety going up because realistically, that we can't say that 100% this will never happen again. So I personally will not watch a Black person being murdered. Like, I know that it's not healthy for me. I know that I can't let it go, and it's going to stick with me, and I don't need to see the process to know the outcome and to still have that same type of rage. And so my recommendation often to people, and I especially reiterate it over and over now, is be mindful of what you take in. That at any moment you have the power and the control to unplug. You can make a decision not to watch it. You can make a decision to, be careful about when you're watching the news, what news channels you're watching, if you get on social media or not, because it's everywhere.